First things first, let's open up a back cave, push once for halfway, and one more time for the full panoramic experience. And we're off. This truck is just too much fun, I'll be honest. I gotta say, just over the last week of driving this truck, it's been an amazing experience. I've owned a lot of new vehicles and different types of vehicles, and really nothing ever fit me as well as the 2019 Rebel has. This truck really honestly makes me feel like I'm 21 again, and I just got my dream truck, and that's basically the best way I can describe it. Yesterday, I got into the truck and I wasn't filming or anything. I just got in the truck and I just drove through the back roads and just enjoyed the vehicle. And as a car guy, I mean, anybody can attest to that. That is what it's all about. We do spend a lot of time modding our trucks, trying to make them our own, trying to make them unique, but sometimes you just got to get in that driver's seat and just drive the vehicle that you love. I mean, that is truly what I can say about this truck. This thing fits me so well. So with that being said, after a week of ownership, I have noticed a couple of little differences between the Rebel and the Laramie. And after having a Laramie for 7 months and really getting to know that truck and then going into the Rebel, I can kind of speak on the differences between the two. And if you're kind of on the fence on whether to buy the Laramie or to buy the Rebel, really that decision is solely going to be based on your personality and what you really want out of your truck. Now, for me, I really liked the Laramie. The Laramie was a really nice truck. I actually didn't think I was missing anything with that truck. It had all kinds of really neat nuances. The interior was amazing. It did have the sporty 22-inch wheels, which I liked and disliked at the same time. I really liked the way it looked. Every time I walked away from that truck, I was always looking back. It was a beautiful truck. It was more of a sports truck. It was the Laramie Sport. It had the color match bumpers and grill and all that kind of stuff. It was all black. Very nice truck when it was clean. Hard to keep clean, but everybody knows that about black vehicles. You know that going into it. And if I'd never driven a Rebel, I probably would have just gotten another Laramie, got the 4-wheel drive package, and been on my way, and never felt like I really missed anything. But I did drive the Rebel, and like I said before, that definitely changed my attitude about this truck. Now, this truck is not just a truck. This truck is what you would call special. Kind of like the Raptor makes you feel special, that you're not just in your run-of-the-mill F-150. The Rebel makes you feel the exact same way. Now, like I said before, the Rebel is not in competition with the Raptor. Obviously, the Raptor has a far more capable suspension with the wide body kit and the Fox shocks and all that kind of stuff. But the Rebel is no slouch. The Rebel definitely has some of those things in its DNA. Now, if you're going to buy this truck, this is going to be a daily driver. Obviously, most people, when they buy a vehicle, aren't going to be taking it into the Baja, and that's pretty much what the Raptor is geared for. And I happen to know a few people that own Raptors, and every single one of them, other than a select few that work oil field, pretty much baby them on the street. So, I mean, do you really need to pay that extra money for all that stuff? Well, that's really up to you. So now back to the Laramie versus the Rebel. The suspension on the Rebel is worth every penny. Honestly, the Bilstein shocks with the reserves on them, they absorb the bumps so well. You think you're driving in a Cadillac, not to mention having the 18-inch wheels with the big tire package. They do have a tiny little bit of road noise, but you actually kind of just get used to it within a couple of days. And every time you go over a bump, you're just like, wow, this thing is really smooth. I really don't even feel like I'm driving in just your standard truck. I feel like I'm driving in something with a really well-tuned suspension that's made to absorb that kind of impact. And if anybody is from Pennsylvania, you know our roads can be a little bit rough at times, and especially when you go down the turnpike and you get into that kind of bump kind of stuff. This really takes that well, and it's an absolute joy to drive. So another thing with the Rebel, as far as the interior goes, the seats in this thing are absolutely amazing. They blow the ones in the Laramie out of the water. These ones are just, they're a little bit more bolstered, they're a little bit more cushiony, and when you go over the bumps and everything like that, you just feel like you're in a lazy boy, and it's just an amazing experience. I mean, honestly, for the suspension and these seats, that is what makes the Rebel special for me. But in the Laramie's defense, there definitely is some options that are on that truck that are unavailable on this truck, and some maybe some that you can live without, and some maybe for some people they can't. For me, the biggest one was probably the cooled seats. Not really a big deal, I guess. I mean, I've never really been in a super hot day yet. I mean, I've been in the 90s already with this truck, and I really didn't notice too much of a difference. You throw the air conditioning on and you're pretty much good to go. The air conditioned seat was definitely a nice thing to have, but it was something that was a little bit shocking to me that they didn't have it in this truck. But all in all, definitely not something that would make me change my mind about getting a Rebel. Also, another thing I noticed in the Laramie is it does have ambient lighting everywhere, and in the Rebel you only have it on the floor. You have the little switch here where you can actually do your gauges and your screen and everything, the brightness, and then you have another one beside it where you can adjust everything else in the truck. Now, when I first drove this truck at night, I was looking for the ones kind of accenting the dash and in the door panels and all that, and unfortunately that is a Laramie thing, not a Rebel thing. Another thing with the Laramie is you can get the power deployable steps, and if that's something that you really need to have, you can get them aftermarket for the Rebel. Obviously, I put them on the Ram Laramie, and they worked really, really well. The amp research steps were great. They were about $1,400, so they're a little on the pricey side, but for what you get, they're pretty amazing. I've actually looked into getting the off-road steps for this truck, kind of make it look more Raptor-esque, and they're about $1,000 from Chrysler, so I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see. I want to see what the aftermarket has available, because the steps that are on it I don't particularly care for. I mean, they look nice, it's just they're not really like a big step or anything like that. You get out of the truck, you have a very small spot to step onto, and I feel if it was wet or anything like that, they'd probably be easy to slip off of. And with the little kids, I just kind of want something that's going to be easy for them to get in and out of the truck. So I don't know, we're really gonna have to see what the future holds, whether I'm gonna bite the bullet and pay $1,000 for steps that aren't power. But I mean, I don't know, I guess for the look of the truck we might have to make a sacrifice, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Just about to run the red light right in front of me. Wow, Pennsylvania drivers, gotta love them. All right, we're just pulling out of the car wash, and we just got the truck nicely cleaned up. We did have a little bit of mud on the tires. We had some rainy weather yesterday, and I was having a little bit of fun with it. And that's another reason why the Rebel is what it is. I mean, it's not a Jeep, and it's a truck, but it makes you feel like you bought a Jeep, kind of, sort of. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but when I did have a Jeep, it made me feel the way this truck makes me feel, like I could take it off road. Like I'm not really too worried about it. I'm not trying to make it. Here we go. All right, totally interrupted what I was saying, but somebody was coming and yeah, we were going. But what I was saying was the Jeep made me feel like I had a vehicle that was capable. Like I could take it off road and it wasn't gonna get stuck. I wasn't really gonna have to worry about it. It was kind of that off-road attitude. And that's really what the Rebel gives to me. I mean, it has the tires, it has a suspension, it has really nice off-roady kind of seats, and it looks aggressive, and it has the locker, and has all those kind of fun things that you would expect out of a vehicle that is capable off-road and on-road and all that kind of good stuff. And honestly, that's really the feeling that I've been enjoying the most about this truck. The fact that you're driving something special, and the fact that you're driving something that really suits your personality. So now I know we've been all over the place comparing the different Rams and comparing my experience with the Laramie compared to owning now the Rebel, and I gotta say I'm completely 100% satisfied with the Rebel. The more I drive it, the more I love it. And we have done a few mods already. We're doing the build series where we're doing the must-have mods. We did the first one, which was the Borla Attack exhaust, which I absolutely love. And as you can hear, we're driving down the highway. I'm not having a yell over top of it. You hear it very faintly in the background. We're cruising at 1800 RPM, and if I get on it, we're gonna hear it, but I really like it. It's very livable, but it is for the loud exhaust enthusiast, and it does not disappoint. Also, we did the tonneau cover on the back, and we had a few mixed reviews about it, but I mean, all in all, for the money, that's the tonneau cover that we went with, and it works. I mean, it's nothing special, it's not perfect, but it's gonna do the function, and if I have to replace it in a few years, maybe I'm just gonna get a different one, depending on how much I like it as time goes on. But all in all, I look at it, I'm not unhappy with it, and it does its job. So we do have our third must-have mod coming up. It is something that maybe you wouldn't necessarily expect, but I think it's really gonna make this truck look cool. And I don't know if I'm giving any hints here, but you're gonna have to wait and see. So I did do a couple of mods yesterday, just didn't want to include them in our series that we're doing just because they were ones that I did already on the other truck, and I removed them from that truck and brought them over to this truck. One being, we did the cargo lights from Dynamics, and the ones that come with this truck are just your standard incandescent bulb. They're kind of yellow, they're okay. I mean, they do their job, but you definitely can improve on that. So we put in the Dynamics ones. I already did a video on our previous truck on that, so I did include that in our series. Also, the Jms Pedal Max, that's been a pretty popular one in the comments, and honestly, that's an amazing mod to do, and I really didn't even know about them until this year, honestly, and I'm a believer. I put that in this truck, and it is so much more fun to drive. It's so much more responsive. You don't have that delay. So when I first put the exhaust on, I was coming out of Westy's shop after getting the tonneau cover, and there was somebody coming down the road pretty high rate of speed, and I was already pulling out, and before I realized that, so I nail it. And basically, I was just kind of waiting. When's this thing gonna kick in? And it felt like forever, but it eventually kicked in, and we took off, we were gone. But this Jms Pedal Max definitely eliminates that. When you step on this throttle, it opens that throttle so much faster, and you get that Hemi roar right away, and it's something that you definitely don't want to live without after you have it. So we have that now installed in this truck. We're loving every minute of it. I have it on about 25%. It's kind of the happy medium for daily driving. If you want to go racing, crank it up to 100, and off we go. And also, if you guys didn't notice, we did get our window tint done yesterday. I got a brow on the front, and I got the front two windows done, same as the rear. So now we have nice dark interior when we want it. We closed the panoramic sunroof. It's kind of like a bat cave in here, so you definitely get the best of both worlds with the panoramic. If you want it open, you can have the light coming in, and if you don't, you just close it up, and you're exactly the same as if you didn't have a sunroof at all. So that's just a little truck update as of yet. We do have more stuff coming. Definitely want to stay tuned for those videos. This truck's going to be transforming, and it's going to look absolutely amazing, so I'm very excited to share that with you guys out there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep that hammer down.